These are four brothers, here to provide, guide, and share the heart-centered light from within, utilizing experience and perspective on masculinity as a whole. They now invite you to come on this epic journey to grow with them and watch the magic happen. The movement within.
What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for joining us again for another episode of The Movement Within. This episode is going to be on taking action. So what we really wanted to do is, this is our 6th episode now. We've already gone through a slew of topics that we feel are necessarily important to us, but also at the same time important to you, right? And so we thought it'd be best if we really just get down to the bottom of how we take action in regards to each topic, right? And there's no order, there's no anything like that, right? You know how we do it. If you've seen any of our past episodes, if you haven't, check them out. Again, we're definitely open to feedback. So if you want to let us know how it goes, any topics that you want to specifically hear, let us know. Or a topic that would relate to you on a deeper level, you can always reach out. You can reach out to us on Instagram, on Facebook. We're always manning the booth, right? So if you ever want to get any questions answered or anything like that, definitely let us know, and we'll always reach out and give you any advice that we have, right? And it's not that our advice is better than anybody else's. All we really do is share our experiences, just like we've been talking about in our episodes, and we just want to, shine some light on the different topics that we're bringing out, and we feel like we could really help people in doing so, right? That's the sole purpose of this. But again, you guys are a huge part of it, so again, thank you so much for being part of that as well. So I guess we can just dive in.
In.
Right?
Let's go.
I'll let Chris take it off from here. So I guess the first thing that we were originally talking about was the heart. That was the first episode, right?
Yeah.
It's funny that how this just naturally happened, because if you guys remember, Chris was talking about the heart just being an organ, right?
Yeah.
Things have happened since then, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe, share a story or so, but also let us know how what action is being taken, or what taking action looks like to you when it comes to the heart.
Okay, so with the heart, so a lot has happened since the first episode of the heart. I got a haircut, number one. Number two, I think I've been seeing the heart. I've been noticing what the heart is and what it does through other people. Recently, I've had a friend, they were telling me something like, I don't want to get into it, but like they were helping other people and putting themselves at risk for getting hurt for helping other people. And I was like, why would you do that? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand, because it just doesn't, but then I could see her eyes, and I could see like her body language, her face. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, she like 100% cares. Like, she wants this to survive, to live, even though she's getting hurt. And I was like, to me, it's amazing. That blows my mind. It makes me it just leaves me in awe. Like, I don't know what to say about it, because it's just something amazing. And so that learning experience, I'm just kind of I keep thinking about it. So that's how I'm taking action from learning from that experience, is just learning and seeing what she was doing, and see how I can apply it to my life, and see, because I want to be better. I want to be the best person I can be for myself, so I can help other people. Yeah. Just thinking about that whole situation and applying it to every interaction that I have with other people. And that's how I've been using the heart, I kind of get it now, right?
Yeah.
It's feeling it.
Yeah. Dude, I think for me, right, when it comes to the heart, I just want to add, a little bit of my piece on that. Is it really, for me, it comes down to intention, right? So no matter what the situation is, right, I ask myself, am I leading out of good and positive intention, or negative and self-serving intention? And as long as I'm leading in the best way possible with positive intention, then I know that I'm using the best source, which is my heart, right?
Yeah.
And so I always check myself when it comes to that, and that's in any type of situation, right? Even if I know that I'm 100% already leading out and I can feel it, it's always a good opportunity for me just to check in with myself and be like, okay, what is your intention in this, Derek, right? If I need to give a difficult message, or if I need to talk to my son about something, or whatever it is, I always just check in with myself really quick, right? And that's something that each of you can do as well, right? We talked a little bit about intuition and knowing or leading with your gut and following your gut. It goes back to that as well. Really what we want to do is, again, for me, it comes back to leading with positive intent, right? And always being able to check in with yourself to see if you're doing it out of the kindness of your heart, or if you're doing it as a self-serving aspect of that situation.
The heart too, for me, I've been kind of, I don't know, putting myself in places where I never really thought, like a lot of gratitude lately, like, and it's really been a lot with the heart. And like, for instance, we went to Moab last weekend, but just seeing like my father-in-law, you know, how much he cares about us, and I mean, it was really kind of an amazing experience just kind of being with them and being a part of the family. And it's weird because I've never really been a part of my wife's family for like all the time I've kind of known her. Like the last like 4 years, I think I've actually communicated a lot with them and stuff like that because of the way I was. It's been way cool. Like, it's like a lot of gratitude. Like, I actually put I just kind of chilled out and like videoed like just like everything that was going on around me was dead silence, little birds and stuff.
Yeah.
And I've been kind of like, I'm gonna start meditating too, that type of thing, because it's such an awesome experience, you know. So the heart really has been opening up for me too.
I like that you said when you want to like open up your heart, like it's like you're opening up your feelings, like you're willing to show what you're feeling to somebody else, like kind of like a little bit like being a little bit vulnerable, like, hey, like this is how I feel, you know, and it's just like, and then everything just comes out. Whatever you're feeling, you just go, you don't even think about it, you just start saying all this stuff with the heart. And then so that's what I kind of understood, like my friend's perspective is that I was like, wow, like she's like opening up all this to me, and I felt super grateful. Like she was telling me, and I was like, you know, I'm here, I'm gonna listen, I'm gonna try and help her the best I can. And I don't know, it was just a really cool experience. Just like, I think that's what I think I'm understanding a little bit, is just opening your heart is kind of like expressing and showing your feelings,
making connections, like a bigger connection.
Yeah.
A lot bigger.
Exactly.
So maybe Johnny can kick us up on the next one, right? Like, so Johnny, how do you take action with like thoughts and emotions, right? When they come through, if we look back on that episode, like what do you do, and what type of action are you taking when you think of that topic specifically?
Well, you know, when you start taking action about it, there's one thing to know about something and start being aware of it, but there's another thing to actually act on it. And when I think it comes to action, I do certain steps. First off, I become aware of it. I become aware of my thoughts or my feelings of what I'm processing, and then I start being aware of where it comes from. And so I put those together, and then I can do my actions after that. So I think there has a lot to go with it, and being aware of it, and then choosing which way you want to go with it, and then acting on it. You know, acting is the last part. With me personally, it's probably the hardest part, is to sit here and act on all these things that you get knowledge from, and it definitely needs to start being done every single day. When somebody asks about, you know, how much should I be in my heart and how much should I do these certain things out of light and love, and it's quite simple. It's all the time, you know, and acting is the one big true thing that's going to help you out in your life, and it's going to help out other people in their lives, because they see that action and that gives them action. It's empowerment. It's a flow of energy that goes with, but it's, you know, I think it's definitely a type of process that I go through when I'm taking action.
Well, it talks a lot about like leading by example. Like that's what I'm getting a lot from that too. Like you were saying, right? Like you leading and you taking that action again shows other people that they can take their own action, right? So for example, for me, I agree with Johnny 100% that the thoughts and emotions or the feelings that are associated with all that is very difficult at times for you to really recognize in the moment and really being aware of it. And so one thing that I've done when I take my action is I write them down in my journal. of exactly what feelings I have. I kind of give a brief description of the situation, so if I ever need to go back and relate to it, then I will. But a lot of it for me too is also just calling it out the way it is, right? Or getting help from friends and brothers that actually will be able to tell me, like, and help me recognize my thoughts and my emotions in those situations as well, but not just leaving it at that, right? Like actually doing something about it, right? It's the same with any type of goal for me. Like anyone can set a goal, right? But how many of us are really going to follow up and take action on that goal and hold ourselves accountable to achieving or doing what we need to achieve that type of goal, right? And that's where I think me and Chris have been talking about it a little bit, and I know Josh has mentioned it too, about like we talked about it today, about surrounding yourself with people that are going to uplift you and help you out and push you, because again, you know, yeah, you can try to do it by yourself all you want, right? But sometimes you do need that support and that help to help push you so that you can continue to take that action to get that result that you're looking for.
There's another thing too that me and Derek kind of talked about, kind of based on maybe fear too, because a lot of my stuff, you know, I was scared to take action because of the fear of what was kind of going to happen, because it was such uncharted territory, like dropping the people that didn't really benefit me. Like, and a lot of people are going to leave anyways, just because you're taking different steps that they would never take, and it's just going to be weird for them. But yeah. I mean, it's really hard to just take that first step, to take that action, just for you, for your life, for your family. I mean, whatever you have going on. I mean, it's a really hard step, but it's really, the first step is just to, you know, take it, and who cares what happens after, because it's something that you want to do, you know.
Well, normally it's the benefit of you, right? I know me and Johnny have talked about it. I mean, it's been a few months since we talked about going through some dark shit, right? Going through some dark shit and how scary it was. And if we didn't take that action in those moments, we'd probably be in a different situation today, right? But because we took that action, because we faced it head on and we were pushing through it, and you know, we were getting advice from other people, and we were setting goals and doing all these things, that's why we are where we are, right? Is because we were going through it, no matter how dark and scary it may be, which is relatable to Josh's example, like of dropping people, right? A lot of us, like, you think of like Instagram and Facebook and all these things, and how so many people want so many likes and all these types of things, right? Like, what if you don't have those, right? And there's the fear that people will not feel significant in those situations if they don't have that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's all relatable to the situation, right?
No, for sure. And I think a lot of it too is action doesn't have to be physical. It's definitely mental. Like, just taking that physical or that mental action of saying, yes, I am gonna do this. You know, like I think Josh was telling me, or maybe it was my little brother, but it was somebody in there saying, you know, if you're gonna send that email, you just tell yourself, yes, I'm sending this email, or you just tell yourself, no, I'm not sending it today. I mean, just being true and real with yourself, but like taking that just one step of saying, no, I'm not gonna do this, or yes, I'm gonna do this. That's just a level of commitment right there to your actions, which will help push you forward a lot faster and where you want to go.
Dude, maybe, I was gonna say you should talk about your book, dude, and your action steps and all that.
All right, so I'm super into like the physical part of action. Like, if you're gonna say something, do it. If you're not gonna do it, then don't even talk about it. Don't worry about it, because you're not gonna do it. You know, and I mean, that's super, I feel like that's super honest, and you might think it's a dick thing to say, but that's just how I feel. If you're gonna keep talking about it, then okay, then go do it. If you're not, then stop talking about it. You know, that's how I am. But what is so interesting that Johnny just said is that taking action doesn't have to be physical, right? A lot of people ask me, Chris, hey, how you been doing? What have you been up to? And I'm like, oh, well, I'm doing this, and I feel like it's a lot. But mostly, I'm like working on my mental health. Like, is that right? My mental health, my
inner balance.
Yeah. Like, I'm trying. Like, I have such a hard time with love. Like, I don't know if you guys follow me on Snapchat and Instagram and everywhere. They're always like, "Hey, Chris, I love you," and I'm like, I know, like, you know, like,
I appreciate you.
Yeah, like, it makes me feel a little awkward, but like, you know, I think hanging out with these guys more and more, and like, I'm learning. I'm learning so much, and it's all in my head. Like, everything that I think about is, you know, their thoughts, you know, and like it's just a crazy battle that I have with myself, and so I'm taking like action in my head. I think about it all the time, and I'm not gonna get through it over one night, right? I'm not gonna feel like I'm not gonna understand everything in 1 week, in 2 weeks, or whatever. It might take a year. I don't know. I honestly don't know. But it's super cool, man. Like this whole process, this journey, it gets super frustrating. It does.
Yeah, it does.
But you know, hanging out with the right people, if you feel like you're supposed to be here and hang out with those people, then hang out with those people because they're gonna help you.
I think you said something that sparked something in my memory too, right? Because so me, for those of you that know, like I'm a very spiritual person. I love the ebb and flow of life and allowance and not controlling really anything that I don't need to, right? But I think a lot of it too, and hopefully you guys can relate to this a little bit more, is that feeling when you need to take all this action because you're trying to tell yourself that you do, but in reality you just need to go with the flow, right? So it almost feels like you're not doing anything, but in reality, like what's actually happening is you're still learning, you're still doing so much, you're still evolving and all these things, but your ego or your mind will come in and be like, you're not doing anything. Like you didn't go and record that episode that you were supposed to, and in reality it's like, well, maybe it wasn't meant to be that I was supposed to record that episode or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, and that's what's been struggle for me, is when like you get to that point, and I think a lot of people fall into this too, right? Where it's literally just like the same old thing. I think we talked about it in episode 3 or 2 or something like that, where you wake up, you go to work, you come home to your family, you eat dinner, you go to bed, you wake up, same thing over and over again, right? There's still, even in that moment, you're still learning, right? But are you really pushing yourselves in those moments, right? So that whole thing collectively it goes back to awareness, which Johnny brought up, today, and talking about how aware you are in the situation, and really just going with your inner peace and your inner voice of letting you know what you should do, right? Like I was telling Chris the other day, like I've been seeing numbers like crazy. So any of you that know angel numbers or numerology or anything like that, it's been crazy for me, and I've been telling Chris about it. I've literally seen in the last 4 days, I've seen every single number sequence you can think of. The 2 days ago, I saw everything: 33, 00, 3 zeros, 11, 11, like 99. Like every single number all in the same day, and that has never happened to me before, and I'm still seeing it now. Like even on the drive over here, I'm like this license plate just pops up and I'm like 24 or 66 or some shit.
22.
Right, or 22, yeah. There's so many numbers going on, it's crazy right now, right? But if you look into that, it'll give you the information of what's going on in your life at this time, right? And I started to research it because I was like, what the hell is going on? Because this never happened to me, right? And Chris was one that actually found it for me, and what he found is that like I'm literally all of the numbers and all the meaning behind every single one of those numbers is just accelerated and increased like tenfold, right? And so I feel like my world's just like spinning like 10 times faster than it was before, but I still need to keep that balance, you know what I mean? And I think part of that too is, again, being aware of when you should be pushing for or living out your life purpose and your soul mission, or when you should just go with the flow. Because this whole year I felt that I should just go with the flow.
It's taking that path of least resistance.
Yes, 100%. And now it's like, go, dude. Like you need to run at this shit. Like now I'm like running this marathon, dude. And it's crazy, but yeah, I think knowing when to just let things be and live in the present. Like today was one of those days for me, right? Doing a side job, I woke up, I went and did some of that side job, and then I hit up one of my friends, Nikki, and then we went and had some coffee together for about an hour and a half. And then next thing I know, Josh is like, dude, hey, if you guys are free and you need someone and want to come help move, then come help. I was like, dude, I'm down. I have nothing else. I'm not doing anything else. And I was just literally in the present in every single moment throughout all of today, and it's been crazy.
That's awesome.
Crazy.
I think a thing too that everybody should kind of know too, because life can get real stressful when you're on roads of like self-awareness and like education, everything. Like it gets real kind of frustrating, like Chris was saying earlier, and sometimes you can't force things. That's the one thing I've kind of learned it just makes everything worse. Like you can't force yourself to be a millionaire. You can't force yourself to be like get likes like on Instagram. You can't force anything. I mean, because it's just gonna stress you out, and it's just gonna ruin your kind of relationships. So that, I mean, that's one thing I think that you just can't do. Like, and people should take that in consideration. Just go with the flow, like what Derek's saying. Like, you need to know when to go, and like when you're taking action and you're living on your life and you know and you're happy, that's when you know you're on the right path. When you're sitting there frustrated all the time, trying to force things and things are blowing up in your face, that's when you know that you're kind of on the wrong.
Well, I think a lot of it too, with when you take action, you have intent.
Yeah.
So not expectations, because expectations will fail you every time, because it has goals, it has set standards. I mean, it's like saying I'm gonna try to do something. Just the word try, you're setting yourself up for failure, because you ain't giving yourself 100%. You ain't being honest with yourself. So when you go into something, you can intent, saying I'm gonna finish this course, or I'm gonna do this and that in some sort of way, and then it doesn't set up really too much of a time boundary unless you want to, but it just kind of creates that action of taking that intent or whatever you want to do, and you're putting it in a good light to where it's still there, and you set that in stone, and you say I'm gonna take this action, but I'm gonna be realistic about it and give some intent behind it, instead of saying this is my expectation, I plan on going through college and doing all this and all these classes at this time, instead of saying no, I'm just gonna I want my end certificate, and I know I'm gonna do everything to get to that point. And, and it just seems to run more smoothly. It's a path of least resistance that is made from love and light. Like, when you ask yourself about action, feel it and see where it comes from, and then realize which path is the least resistance, that's going to cause you the least amount of stress or pain or just energy at all.
And sometimes that pain and all that will come in there, right? Because that's part of the path too, right? Like, you are human. You need to go through it. I talked about the dark spaces that Johnny and I have both experienced in our lives, right? We had to go through that. That's just the way it is, right? But that's not where you beat yourself up over those situations. You learn from it. I'm trying to remember exactly what you just said.
Your action behind that, though, is what makes that situation easier to go through.
Well, right, but so no, that's what I'm saying. I agree with that. I agree with that 100% too, right? And to I think Josh's what he said is like, when you're living that peaceful life, I forget exactly the quote and who said it, but they talked about peace is one of the number one things that is the key to happiness, right? And I think it's also cool, like, for example, like the whole Jim Carrey situation, if you guys know how he wrote himself that check for 10 mil, and then he actually finally got that check for 10 mil when he did the first Dumb and Dumber, right? Okay. And so I think it's also really good, because like me and my friend Nikki, we used to text each other every day and set our intentions for that specific day, but also setting them without any expectations, right? Things that are definitely attainable and that can be done. And that's what I was talking to Chris a little bit about how he had his power
list.
Yeah, his power list that he was going through. Maybe he can expand on that a little bit more, right? But I think it's also healthy for you to create things that are attainable, but exactly to what Johnny was just saying, right? Is if I want to go and I need to get this certificate because it's going to help me get further in life, right? You can talk about getting the certificate, but you'll get there when you get there, right? Yeah. Like, it's not that, I have to have this by, May 25th or whatever date it is, right? Because, I mean, you can definitely try to push for it, but again, you're already creating a subconscious expectation.
Well, you could be creating a lot of stress in between that, about something, and it can make you lack on your grades, it can make you stress in life. I mean, there's a lot of things beyond in that, but I think if you end up going into something with an open heart and awareness of it and the right intent, that it just runs so much more smoothly and it goes through a lot faster, and it's a fun process, and it's just way more positive around the whole thing.
So the Power List is a great thing to build confidence every day. And so what it is you just get like a little notebook. I got mine at Barnes and Nobles. It was like, that place is a little expensive, so it was like $15. Yeah, it was like this little empty, just the size of your hand, right? There you go. And then what you do is write down 5 tasks that you can do. Tasks, not goals. Not like, I'm gonna lose 25 pounds by Wednesday or whatever. Like, it's not gonna happen. It's those things that are in your control that you can do. That, like, hey, I need to send an email. I need to go to the gym today. I need to read 10 pages of this book. Like 5 things that you can do. Don't do more than 5 because it gets overwhelming. Do 5 things for that day. And if you only do 4 at the end of the day, you got an L for that day. You lost that day. And then if you did everything on that list, you got a W, and you won that day. And so you should obviously have more W's than L's, because by doing those 5 things every day, you build confidence. And I think after 21 days or something, you change those tasks to do something else, because you should have already built a habit through those things. And so that's what a power list is. If you want to know more, it's I got it from Andy Frisella from the MFCEO project. It's in the description below if you want to check it out. Episode 107, his podcast.
And that could just be like simple too. Like, I mean, as simple as maybe you're getting more back in your health and you just want to brush your teeth more. That could be one of your tasks on your list.
Yeah.
For 21 days, that makes you brush your teeth every single night and put that W on your list right at the end of the night. And then another task on your list could just be waking up and putting yourself in a good mood.
Yeah.
Just saying some positive affirmations to yourself right when you wake up, when you're in your bed, like, thank you for letting me wake up. Today is gonna be an awesome day. We're gonna get this. We're not gonna be tired. We're gonna have some energy. I mean, boom, you say a couple things like that. There's another task.
Yeah.
You know, you do that for 21 days like you said, and it builds a habit, and then you build it on from there, and then it just becomes habit.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's hard. Like, I looked through my little notebook, so many L's. So many. There's like 5 or 7, like, just L back to back to back, and I'm like, oh, dude. But, you know, it's just a learning experience, you know. I've never done anything like that before. I haven't done it in a while, but it's worth a try. If you never tried anything like that before, I would try it. And I think that's what goes with awareness, is like being open-minded, and you said open-hearted. Just, you know, like, I'm not really into these guys are like into rocks. Is that what it's called? Just rocks? Is that
Crystals.
Crystals.
Gems.
Don't see. I don't know.
Geodes.
Sorry, I don't know. Me being a little naive, you know. Sorry.
He likes them.
Like, you know, I don't really understand it. I don't get it. But I'm not like, yo, dude, that is so dumb. Like, I don't say those things. You know, I'm just like, all right, like, I want to understand. You know, I want to get why they get it. And like with Derek and the numbers, angel numbers, like, I'm not really into it, but like hanging out with him and him like showing me like how he feels, it's really interesting. Like, I don't know, it's pretty cool, you know, just looking at it like, oh my gosh, like, what does that mean? You know, it makes me question, like, what does that mean? You know, like, I don't know. So I just think like a part of being or wanting to be aware, if you're not aware, like, just be open-minded, open-hearted, and just try not to judge. I think that's one big thing. Just try not to judge.
Or judge yourself.
Yeah.
Definitely don't judge yourself, and definitely don't judge other people.
Yeah.
I think with the judge yourself part, when you think of the power list, and this just because you said it, right? I don't even know if you were aware that you said it or
What did I
not.
say?
But we talk about like W's and L's, and the first thing that's probably on your mind is winning and losing, right? But what if you change that L to learning, like you said, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Instead of being like, I won this day or I lost this day, right? Because if you say you lost, like, yeah, I mean, that can be motivating, but learning can also be just as motivating or even better than what it was before, and it puts a positive spin on it at the end of the day too, right? I forgot exactly at what the podcast I was listening to when I heard this, but we focused or it was a YouTube video, sorry. Whereas it was focusing so much on like what we can't do, and a lot of times we're so easy to say we can't do this or we won't do this, but why not change it and only focus on the things and say to exactly what Johnny was saying is, instead of I will try to do this, it's I will do this, right?
Yeah.
I am this, or this will happen, like that, like those more affirming statements instead of the more generic, broadened, floating in the air type of statements, you know. But that just sparked my memory. Instead of lost, change it to learn.
Yeah.
That's great. I like that.
Something too that Chris was kind of saying about kind of learning from others. You know, it's something that I kind of learned because I used to, you know, have so much just kind of hate for everybody. I used to find something I hated about everybody, pretty much. You know what I mean? And what I've been doing for the last little while is just I kind of find a piece of myself in others, to kind of like a relation or something, or you know, because everybody's got a story. You don't ever know anything. You know what I mean? Like, and like it's like we were kind of saying. I think we said in one episode, like when people look at you, like I think me and Derek were saying, like we used to kind of when someone walked by, we'd kind of we give them a mean look type of thing, and that's kind of the way we were. But I mean, now it's like that person is kind of just like me in my head. You know what I mean? Like I don't see it as a different person anymore. I see it as everybody kind of like, oh, that's a part of me. You know, like we're all kind of connected in a way, and learning like all these guys, like these angel numbers. It trips me out too with the angels numbers. I don't know what any of it means.
I love angel numbers.
Yeah, everybody always says stuff about angel numbers and like stuff like that, and like crystals. I always liked crystals and stuff when I was younger, but never really got into it. And then I connected back with Johnny and stuff, and he was into it, and I was like, oh, dude, it's kind of crazy. And I started kind of liking them again, and it's just cool. But it's just learning, you know what I mean? Like figuring out who you are, type of stuff. Like everybody's kind of projecting it, so it's pretty awesome.
All right, guys. Well, we appreciated having this time with you. We love you, and you know we're super excited about doing this and having this journey with you guys. Our next episode is going to be on vulnerability and how we get down on our vulnerability. You know, let's get this thing and get these good messages out there. And like I said, we love you guys, and we can't wait to make our next episodes. Bye.